Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper. And I am excited that you're here with me today. So I'm going to go through my planning process, kind of a daily recap, and it was kind of a different day for me. I wasn't very productive in the traditional sense as I was conducting a training for another district, but I still got a couple of things done. So, happy with that. Um, I have some tea this evening. So, I have an apple cinnamon tea, which is very much the fall vibe right now. And I'm very excited to be able to sip on this. I went to the grocery store this evening and picked up a fresh box. And I have it seated on my cup warmer. I am also sporting a sweatshirt today from Crime Junkies, which is one of my favorite podcasts. And I think 2 years ago got a sweatshirt that says full body chills, and I love wearing it, and especially love wearing it in the fall. Hello, Miss Marilyn Darling. So, for those of you that follow Miss Marilyn Darling, you may be aware that they just did their own YouTube live and unboxed a very cool item. So I would highly recommend going and looking at that when it posts. Hello, Kathleen. Hi, friend. Hi, Fritz. Fritz, I did get your email. I am hoping to get to the post office Thursday. So I will be sending a package your way, and I'll throw in a couple of other things in there besides the ink that you had asked about. So, without further ado, I'm actually not going to get into this one yet. I'm going to start in the Hobonichi Day Free. And just when I'm doing a planning session, I do like to take my pens out just so that I'm not flipping back and forth. When I'm at home downstairs laying on the floor on my belly, which is where I do the majority of my daily recap, etc., I don't take all my pens out, but c'est la vie. All right. And actually, I didn't even set up for today. Goodness. So if anyone were to have watched my weekly recap that ended up posting very late yesterday evening, the upload took forever. I don't think it actually posted until close to 10 p.m., which means Mama was awake, waiting for it to be ready. I had kind of a big thing happen. I won a good amount of money playing Keno. And just on a whim, I got invited to go to a restaurant with two of my friends after work. And I had already gone home, taken the dog out. And my husband and son weren't going to be home for a bit because my son had soccer practice. And so I thought, well, I'll just go meet up with them, get a glass of wine, get an appetizer, play around a Keno, and head home and then make dinner for the family. So in that round of Keno, I hit all 5 numbers and I got a triple multiplier. And so I won just over $1,300. Let me say that again. $1,300. And so I stayed for another glass of wine, and I saw that my husband had ordered Chipotle, so I knew he was all set for dinner. But I got home at about 6:30, and then I had to do some paperwork for the state to get the payout because it was over $600 and taxes are taken out. So I did all of that, and then recorded my weekly recap, and then spent some time with my son, and then I realistically slept very little last night because I was riding this huge emotional high of just being so ecstatic. So yeah, I'm exhausted. Thank you, everyone. I just, I feel like I'm just oozing happiness right now. And I feel like when I recorded last night, I was oozing happiness. Just, oof. Kathleen, I always think of you now when I say UFTA. I think of you every single time now, and I appreciate that you help make that connection for me. Um, so I did already purchase the pen, and I don't know. Do you really want to know? You know what? Um, yeah. So a couple of weeks ago in my YouTube live, when I reached 1,000 subscribers, and I knew that I was then going to get monetized. Um, I had shared that one of my bucket list pens was to get a Leonardo. And so this was unplanned money. And I decided I was going to go ahead and get the Leonardo. And then the $1,000 remaining money after, taxes and everything else, I was able to divvy out into some of our savings goals and get it in. I've got it on the way to being transferred because the money actually hit my account today already, which was awesome. And so I now have a transfer initiated to get it into a high yield savings account to start making some interest on it. I could talk about money all day long. This is not really the space for that unless that's something you guys want to hear more about. But I was just super thrilled and very appreciative that I was also able to help out my family with getting this money put aside for Christmas and some upcoming holidays and things like that. Just with the career change that I made this year, I did take a slight decrease in pay. And so any way that I can financially contribute to my family to kind of make up for that, I'm very pleased about that. So a lot of really great things. I also will take a moment, just because I'm chatting right now, to share that since I changed jobs, I have felt like my luck has changed. So what I mean by that is, for example, winning that money. Another example is um, I often will look at my watch at either 11:11 or 1:11, and I'm not a superstitious person. To quote Michael Scott, I'm a little stitious, but that does mean something to me. That I do notice those things, and I think I use those moments to validate that I've made some good decisions in my professional and personal life. So, little, I guess, soapbox there for a moment. So, thinking or looking back to Monday, I did print out the safety care materials. I started entering the student data. I did do journaling. I filmed my weekly recap. I did some memory keeping. I didn't look at the cookie swap Google form. Didn't do my MTRS or Tony's dates for repair, but I did finalize the pay it forward Google form, and I did a social media post. So I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I have mentioned Pay It Forward, which is a charity in the works. So we are not a formalized 503c whatever the formal thing is for a charity, but we're hoping to accomplish that this year. We are in the process of completing the paperwork and so on and so forth. But we do have a Facebook page. And so if you are interested, you can go on Facebook and search Pay It Forward Charity, and you can like that page. We just did, I put together a Google form for a recipient nomination for the 2024 recipient. The criteria is that it's somebody that currently is undergoing treatment for cancer, who does not currently have any financial fundraising or financial support in place. It sounds terrible, but we certainly would give preference to individuals who have dependents, i.e. children, and or are out of work due to the treatment of the whatever type of cancer that they are battling. So the social media post went up, I think it was Monday. It could have been Sunday though. And then we have an email distribution list because we have been doing this for 10 years. So we have 10 years worth of people that have participated. And I generated actually I did do that yesterday. So yesterday I generated the email for the distribution list and sent that to one of the co-founders to review and approve. And that email went out today. So no pressure, but I'm going to plug it because I believe in the mission of Pay It Forward. We may end up changing our name because Pay It Forward is such a common name, and there are a couple of charities and foundations already. So we're exploring maybe Pay It Forward New England or something, but it's been Pay It Forward for 10 years. So I know I'll speak for myself. I'm struggling with considering a change in name because I've always known it as Pay It Forward. Anywho, hello, F. Moran. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I will say I look forward to my Tuesday nights. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for joining as well. I haven't seen yet Taz, so if someone sees her, say hi. But I just moved my Ollie clip so that I can write a little bit smoother. And I did pop over to the grocery store today and I picked up yogurt and my husband's hash browns and gluten-free cookie mix, brown sugar, VA splash, creamer, ice cream, and butter. And I only had about 10 minutes in the grocery store, so I also had to pick up cat litter, which was the real reason that I went, and paper towels. So I just kind of scooted into a couple of other aisles to grab some things. But, let me check these off. And starting on the 21st, I decided to color alternate between black and orange. Let me just let this dry for a moment. Oh, Yui, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but Yui, I think any kind of a benefit for helping individuals with cancer is so important. And this particular kind of initiative, I'll call it at this point, started because my friend Matt had testicular cancer 10, 11 years ago, and he was out of work. They were expecting their second child, and he just had literally people came out of the woodworks and helped them out, even strangers that didn't even know them, but heard about their situation from people like myself or their other friends and family. And they had meals delivered and they had gift cards sent to them and they had money. They'd open up an envelope and there'd be a check inside. And so when he went through his treatment, he's in remission, he's in excellent health at this point. They reflected on that and decided they wanted to pay that forward. They wanted to do for others what was done for them. So it's a personal connection there. All right, so let me just write Tuesday. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't plan this morning. Again, I was very tired because I did not sleep much last night. Because it would have been a whole lot of not done stuff. So now I'll just write what I did do, which again, not a ton. Today is the 24th. And so I typically have workout and budget every single day. I start my day with a workout, which actually this morning I didn't do it at the start of the day. I did it when I got home from work, but I did a Peloton spin class. And then I check my budget minimally once a day. And when I say budget, what I mean is I open up the banking apps on my phone and I check all the expenditures. By doing that each day, I have actually caught a couple instances of fraud and been able to contact my bank that day and get it resolved. I also am able to really monitor our spending habits. So, for example, yesterday, I knew before I went to meet up with my friends that we didn't have any money left in the budget for eating out or alcohol for this 2 week period between paychecks. But I did have some cash on hand, and so I went with cash on hand and knew that that is what I could spend. And so it's also helped me to, because I am the impulse buyer in our family, so it's helped me to be a little bit more thoughtful about my spending. Another example is I had an Apple LifePrint printer that I got in 2018, and it finally jammed and broke. And so instead of just going out right away and purchasing a new photo printer to the tune of $75 to $100, I did my research, I planned out my expenditures. I have a spending budget for each pay period. And so when it got to Sunday and I hadn't really spent any of my spending money, I was able to put that towards the printer. Otherwise, what I would do is I would budget for it in each pay period, put a little bit of money in until I built it up. So I do very anally check the budget every single day, and I have a spreadsheet that I track it all. I'm actually thinking about building some macro scripts into the spreadsheet so that it's a little easier to replicate for the next month, and then offering it as to like my friends and family as something that they can use because all the formulas are all set. But I want to get it how I feel proud about it before I think about that. So I did my workout, I did my budget. I had to fix the Pay It Forward Google form link. I set up the Pay It Forward Google Forms spreadsheet, and we have 2 nominees already, which is equally sad and wonderful at the same time. Miss Marilyn Darling, I also love Excel spreadsheets way more than Google spreadsheets. Notice I am not doing this on Google. I'm doing this on Excel. Google's not my friend right now. I did, so first thing this morning, I met with Max and we went over, started building out a flow chart. I had to talk to a colleague about a student. And for those of you who aren't aware, I do have numbers assigned to the students that I work with so that I can maintain confidentiality. And I have a OneNote notebook set up where I can reference which student is which number. So that's kind of how I work around that. So Miss Marilyn Darling, an iPad was also one of the best investments that I made. So I have a iPad Pro, not the very large one, but it works fine for me, and it has a keyboard attached to it, and I have an Apple Pencil, which I know you do too. And I purchased that with a work bonus that I got a number of years ago, and it has been an absolute workhorse. I have the Microsoft Suite on there, so it has Excel, PowerPoint, Word. There's another one that I can't think of right now, but it's a really, really helpful tool. I had an added meeting. So I'm going to put a circle to indicate that it was an event. and I'm going to check it off because I went to that. I actually had to participate via my phone because I was en route to the school that I was doing the training at today. But I still participated in the meeting. I had to do the litter box today. Ugh, hate doing it, but needs to get done. Miss Marilyn Darling, I would love to get into more note dictation. I think it might be a good tool for me to use, especially if I can use it on the commute from work to home, just to kind of empty my brain out. That might be something that that I need to do. So I see a request for a cat picture with my new Kodak photo printer. I printed out this one right here. Well, that's my son laying on the couch. That's our big cat. So that cat is Miles. Miles is our older cat, and he is ginormous. And then 2 years later, year and a half later, the mom of Miles had another litter of kittens, and so we got a cat from that litter as well. And that one, his name is Kilometers. Get it? Miles and kilometers. My husband and I are runners. But we call him Meats for short. And I often say that Meats was tortured as a young kitten and chased around the house by kids. We had just moved into our home and we were hosting a lot. And so now if anyone else comes into our home, the moment Meats hears another voice, he runs and hides. And so really the only people who ever get to see Meats, who is right there in that picture, is members of our family. Otherwise, he is in hiding, deep in hiding. So he is a little fluff. He's a little bit more petite than Miles, but he has fluffier fur. And I call him Fluff Butt for short. He's my favorite. And I actually, the last time I took him to the vet, I said to the vet that it was such a traumatizing experience for him that it was going to put our relationship back 2 years. And I have to laugh that I asked those words, but the vet recommended a cat pheromone plug-in that pumps cat pheromones into the air at our home. And I can't really tell if it's helpful. I think it is, but I have it plugged in all the time in the hopes that it might make him a little bit more social. Just doing a quick flip through to see if there's any more cat pictures that stand out, and I'm not seeing any. So yeah, so those are our cats, and then we have our dog Marley. And because of Meats' nickname, it's Miles Meets Marley, which is kind of cute. All the M's. Journal, I did that. I'm going to go ahead and put grocery store because I did do that. And I updated the Pay It Forward board. So this morning on our Facebook page, we had 47 followers. This evening we had 55. So that's great. I'm very happy about that. But I gave an update to the board on our social media technology. Now looking at, how am I going to do this? So I was at the lower elementary school today. I did my workout, budget, skincare. I haven't done any of that, but then I need my black pen. Oh, Miss Marilyn, when was it that you sent the message? I feel like I saw, was it the one where you posted my name in purple and green? Because I did see that. Oh, okay, just now. All right, so when I'm done using my phone for filming, I will take a peek at that. Thank you. So I went to the middle school yesterday, and I went to the lower elementary for a meeting. And yesterday I did my workout, budget, skincare, journaling, memory keeping, and I need to still get caught up on 5-year. This is going to be cool. I like the alternating colors. Wonderful. All right, so that's how I do my my planning with task management and schedule and things like that. And then just making sure that this is dry before I close it. And I would typically pull out my email on my iPad and go through my sent email and document each of those, but I did not send any emails today because I was in a meeting, driving, or training. So emails were not in the cards for today. All right, and then I reported to work at 7:45, or I got there at 7:45, and I wrapped up, I think it was at 3:45 because I had a phone call on the way home from work. So this morning I did my shower, budget and plan. And I continued planning. I met with Max, did a student meeting, and then I did safety care training. And that lasted until it was about 5. And then I did a phone call with a colleague after that. And I got home and I did a ball toss with Marley to help her get some energy out. She's been a little bit on the struggle bus lately, a little bit more frequent accidents, which I'm a little intrigued about. So just trying to make sure she stays nice and active. There we go. I did some pay it forward work, dinner, grocery store, journaling, a little snug with my son, and then YouTube Live brings us to today, or to this moment. And then I'm not going to do a full page of journaling by any means. Mostly that feels a little awkward for me, and I'm trying to work on that. But just letting that dry. Let me sip some tea. Come on. Sometimes I've got here it is. I don't know if I can grab it. There, beautiful. Now let's see, what colors do I want to use? So when I determine which color I'm going to use for a spread, I look at when I last used a color, and then I'll also look at how much ink is left. I think I can do at least a page. And so for this spread, I'm going to use the Esterbrook SD in Petrified Forest, or PF for short. And this is inked up with Sailor 50 States, Massachusetts, which is a beautiful orangey red color, almost corally, but not really. And then I want to use black as the accent color. That was a recommendation from a viewer, and I have very thoroughly enjoyed that recommendation. I like having the kind of highlights stick out there. And so this, the big highlight is going to be that I did advanced safety care. And so the advanced is training on really intense restraints. Helping a student go from a standing position to a seated position, from a seated to a lying down position, floor restraints where an individual is lying face up or on their spine or supine, and the various ways that you can support them, as well as we did blocking pad procedures, which is really cool. It's really not. I mean, it's sad that there's individuals that would need that level of support, but it's really fun to do that training. And it's really neat to kind of show somebody a technique or a way to do something and have them go, oh, that makes so much sense, or, oh, that's so easy. It's just it's a nice moment. And so this was a set of professionals that are really struggling with a student this year. So the district reached out and said, my staff need a higher level of training than what we can provide, and they need it now. And I was very happy to be able to help out. And full disclosure, this was my first time training this. I have trained similar things, but using a different curriculum in the past. And I went to become a trainer to train these things less than a month ago, I think it was, pretty sure. So, yeah. I'm going to put lottery deposit. I could not believe when I got home from work and I checked my bank account. You all are going to think I'm nuts, but I legit check my bank account multiple times a day. I am on that because I want to catch any charges, erroneous charges, quickly. Oh, thank you, Miss Marilyn, darling. I appreciate being looked at as a well understood teacher. I do think the variety of experiences that I've had in my career do lend to help me when I am training, because I'm able to share real life experiences and give tips and tricks. For example, we did a hair pole release, and a number of years ago now, I want to say it was in 2016, I received a hair pull at work that was so significant. There was about 20% of my hair was ripped out of my head that day. And so I use that as an example, and occasionally I'll even show pictures to people, but I use that as an example to talk about if your colleague gets their hair pulled, do not comment on it. Do not hold up a clump of hair and say, whoa, look at this. In fact, hide the hair, step on it, put it in your pocket, throw it in your trash, in the trash, and then be prepared to swap out with that person, because they're likely going to have an emotional response. And so they actually, when I was talking about that, the people I was training, a couple of them took their pens out and they started writing notes, and they were thanking me for the little tips that I gave along the way. And then the big kind of other message that I gave to them is that they just need to be really effective communicators of what they're doing and why they're doing it. And if they end up in a position that's beyond or outside of what I trained, own it, acknowledge it, communicate it, learn from it. The trying to hide things never works out well. So Yui, my gut is to ask where you work, but I also don't want to ask you to put that out onto the internet. Um, I'm oh, if you want, send me an email and I can give you some information about potential companies that provide that training within your area, or companies that you can go to your school district and recommend that they contract with, because that is important. It would be a huge liability for any educator to be in a position that they have to put their hands on a student for safety, and they do so without training or using the wrong positioning and perhaps hurt that child. That would be way more expensive to a district than sending a couple of people to get trained. All right, so I have my lottery deposit, and then I do know, here's my fun thing, I'm going to write backwards, that I'm going to wrap up this filming and actually head right over to my neighbor's house to watch The Golden Bachelor. I think we are a little bit behind. We're watching episode 3. And I'll be honest, I don't even know when it airs or anything. I just go over when I'm invited. So I'll probably go watch Golden Bachelor and have some Twizzlers, and hopefully come home and absolutely crash. Very interesting, Yui. It would be helpful for them to explain their thinking or their thought process behind why they're not having you go. I do know some districts have like a crisis response team, and when there's a student in crisis, they have a team come in and then everyone else gets to step away. There's some pluses and minuses to that, which again, I would love to chat with you about, because I actually was talking in this group about the fact that if there's always someone else coming in to de-escalate or manage challenging behavior, the student is never going to learn that when you give them a direction, they need to follow that direction. And if they don't, there's, one set of outcomes if they don't, one set of outcomes if they do. And all they learn is that with you, when they follow directions, good things happen. But if they don't, someone else deals with it. And it can be pretty damaging to your rapport with that student. Oh, yes. Enjoy Hemingway Jones. At some point, I will jump on to one of those lives. I just haven't been able to fit it into my schedule. And I appreciate that you joined, Miss Marilyn. That was amazing. I'm very appreciative. Also, it's Miss Marilyn's birthday coming up on Saturday. I'm going to keep saying it. All right. I think those are going to be my highlights for today. So I am looking at the time because I do need to head next door. I am going to wrap up. I appreciate each and every one of you for being with me this evening. I enjoy this time. And I hope that you have a wonderfully productive rest of your week. And I will have some more content coming out at the back end of this week as well as this weekend. Yeah. So without, good night.